anything I can be gents with, or any questions?
Oh, we're just looking. I've never seen one cut away like that.
Okay. Yeah. Any questions? I'm glad to help you out.
What is that thing in the middle?
Sorry?
What is it? What is that tube right there in the middle?
That is the erector assembly, and that's really the heart of any variable magnification rifle scope.
So those screws there are actually, when you turn the dial, those actually adjust the...
It's gotta be like this, right?
What it is that there's a pin which actually goes into the end of the erector assembly, and it operates on a helix. There's a couple of lenses in there, and the spacing has to be perfect. And if it should change or shift, that's usually where you get point of impact shifts or wandering point of aims.
Oh.
So, you know, the old adage of you should always zero scope at the highest magnification.
Yeah.
That's it really doesn't apply if you got a good erector assembly.
Gotcha.
You know.
Now, when they talk about first and second focal plane,
okay,
where is the reticle located? What are we exactly talking about here?
All right.
Is
so
this
second focal plane?
First or second?
This is a second.
Okay.
But first would be easy to demonstrate with it.
Sure.
So a second focal plane, you see the black ring at the end here of the at the end of the erector assembly. The lens is actually housed in there, and that is considered the second focal plane, or the F2 position of a rifle scope.
Okay.
The front focal plane, you see the band at the front directly below the adjustments?
Yeah.
That is where the the reticle goes in a front focal plane rifle scope. Front focal plane, first focal plane, also called an F1, the F1 position. That is where it goes there.
So this is what magnifies it. So that's before magnification, that's after the magnification. That's why it gets bigger and smaller?
That's right. So it's magnifying with the image. So if you think of a rifle scope, about 90% of the work is being done down to about the end of the erector assembly.
Okay.
The eyepiece, I mean, it serves other functions, but for all intents and purposes,
focus knob, right? Between those two.
The biggest thing that the eyepiece does is it magnifies the image coming out of the erector assembly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when you look through a rifle scope, remember 90% of the work is done through here.
Yeah.
The first thing you see is the reticle. Nothing is changing when you adjust that magnification. That's why it appears to change or stay the same size. In reality, obviously, everything is changing around it. Images are getting smaller or larger, and that's why you have usually a set position for what is considered, proper subtension on a second focal plane optic.
I gotcha.
Front focal plane, you're looking through all of that as the work is being done, and you're seeing the reticle, and it's magnifying with the image.
Mm-hmm.
So those subtensions of that reticle are going to remain the same regardless.
And when they talk about parallax, what exactly are we looking at in terms of parallax adjustment? What does that do?
Well, there's two types. In this type here, obviously the NXS is a side parallax model. I'll just start with an adjustable objective for those types. An adjustable objective is physically moving the objective lens.
Okay.
That's what's actually moving, and it's bringing the target into the proper plane as you're seeing it. I hate to use the word focus because
I gotcha.
Technically, something can have perfect resolution and still be out of focus. Oddly enough, it's just the way that the way the light diverges. On a side focal plane model, or a side parallax model, I'm sorry, there's a focus lens in it, which is what that black tube is in front of the adjustments. That is what actually moves when you're actually adjusting the side parallax.
Really?
Yeah. Really, you're talking less than an eighth of an inch total travel back and forth for what's moving. You can see with our scopes that you have actual crush spaces, if you will, in the product. That's so when you mount rings on it, or for you to ding it, you have to worry about crushing down on any of the components inside. There are some manufacturers, you actually put a ring on the front, it'll seize down on the focus lens assembly, and your parallax won't work.
Oh.
Yeah. So
not good.
With this here, I mean, you got the crushed area around it, and obviously our tube thickness is 2 to 3 times thicker than what others are using. And
the outside tube, or the?
Yeah, the outside tube itself. And that allows basically to have a snag-free function as far as making sure that the parallax works.
What material is that? Is it aluminum, or?
It is aluminum.
Okay.
Yes.
Like an aircraft, like 7075, same thing we see in the guns.
That's correct.
Okay.
And parallax, what it is basically it's with the eye or against the eye. It's how the image converges on the reticle itself is what actually parallax is. So if you have the, let's just say, the edge of my hand is the reticle itself.
Right.
And the light converges, and it's stopping here. I say you're gonna have parallax. If it's stopping, or not necessarily stopping, but if it's converging back here, you're gonna have parallax. You want those light rays to focus perfectly on the reticle itself.
Got it.
And that's what actually adjusting the parallax does.
So that's the hardest thing, it seems like, because we're looking at a lot of 1 to 10 power optics.
Sure.
That's the most difficult thing, it seems, in those type of optics, is getting the parallax correct.
It is, and I mean, the thing is obviously some manufacturers are pushing it that way. The problem is, like with the 1 to 10, their manufacturers make them, good manufacturers who are making them. But I mean, it's kind of a do everything scope that doesn't do anything especially well.
Okay.
You know,
no, I know what you're saying.
1 power for CQB, 10 power for the top end,